welcome to another edition of Cheers to Careers. I'm Steve Ridinghouse, the Career Outreach Coordinator at the School of Journalism and Mass Communications at KU. Hello and welcome to another episode of Cheers to Careers. I'm Steve Ridinghouse, the Career and Outreach Coordinator for the KU School of Journalism and Mass Communications. Today we are joined by Sheyenne Denton, the Associate Creative Operations Manager at Wieden plus Kennedy in Portland. Welcome, Sheyenne.
Hi, glad to be here.
So how is life in Portland? I know you graduated, and it's hard to believe, 3 years ago. You had an internship, and then you've been with them pretty much ever since. So you must really like it out there.
Yeah, I do like it out here. It was kind of interesting because I started remotely as an intern because I was still during COVID. So I've only been out in Portland for 2 years of the 3 years that I've been with Wieden and Kennedy. But I do love it here. Very different climate, about an hour from the coast and a lot of mountains compared to the flat Kansas. So it's pretty nice being out here.
So you talked about COVID, and I will never forget this because you graduated in 21, and you did a great job as our Ad Club president. You kept that going during COVID. I think we pretty much met on Zoom throughout the year.
Every single time.
Yeah.
Yep, every single time.
But you made it work. And so what was that like? I mean, so at the end of your junior year, I guess March 20, when COVID, and we kind of shut down campus and all of 2021, how did you just kind of keep moving forward in that kind of setting?
It was very difficult. I mean, just to go from the in-person experience to totally remote was like a challenge for everyone. I was lucky though that I got to stay in Lawrence and still be on campus when I could, which was amazing. But as far as classes, I mean, some classes were remote, some classes were in person starting in the fall of 2020. So it just kind of depended. And I was able to keep my job as a marketing assistant at McDonald's, which has probably just kept me really busy and was the best part of being in Lawrence at that time when everything was shut down. But it was very different, especially with KU Ad Club as well. I mean, we all know one of our biggest way to get members is like in-person events with free pizza. We couldn't do any of that. And so it definitely was a challenge to keep everyone interested. But I mean, it was also gave us an opportunity to reach out to people who weren't in the Kansas City residing area to chat with them over Zoom. So that was a positive that came out of it, was that I was able to connect with people who weren't in the Kansas City area, which opened my mind to moving somewhere outside of Kansas City once I graduated.
Was Portland always on your radar, or did you have a plan when you did graduate?
No, Portland was never on my radar before Wieden and Kennedy. Honestly, I thought Kansas City was where I was going to end up. And then when my senior year started, I started doing some advertising conferences that they have every year. But usually they're in places like Nashville or Texas, and I would never have time to go to them. And since my senior year, it was remote because it was COVID, I was able to join from there. And through that, I made so many connections, and it started to make me realize, oh, I could leave Kansas City if I wanted to. Like, I'm starting to grow this network. And so that's when my mind started opening to anywhere I could go. And honestly, I didn't know where I was going to go until I landed this job. I was pretty open to wherever it was going to take me.
Did you know pretty much the kind of work you wanted to do? I mean, I know advertising was always an interest of yours.
Yeah, advertising was always an interest. And I recently just decided to do like project management was the route I wanted to go. So I just started looking for internships and opportunities through that. And that's how I decided where I was going to end up.
St. Mary's, Kansas to Portland, big changes?
Big changes. Very big changes. Yeah, I know. Even just my team size is bigger than the graduating class I grew up in. So it's definitely a change, but you know, you appreciate it more once you're gone as well. So it's been good to be out here.
So being involved like account management, operations, what's been kind of the keys for that? I mean, did KU prepare you well, or you kind of learn new things day by day, or what's that process been like?
Yeah, I mean, every day is something new, especially working with clients. You never know what they're going to need, and things do pop up randomly. So KU prepared me in a good way as far as like being flexible and just like being able to communicate. I mean, my major was strategic communications, and I think communication is like the biggest part of my job. It's just over communicating where we're at in this process, what we need, and just always being able to relay what is going on is truly what keeps our projects afloat. So KU prepared me in a wonderful way. I mean, I don't think you can ever truly be prepared for certain advertising things before you actually do it yourself, but just the opportunities that KU gave me and doing my strategic communication classes definitely prepared me to be flexible, and just my writing recaps and all that has definitely helped me in the job that I have now.
And if I remember right, at KU, it seemed like you were always using new JTech skills at the J Bar. I know you work
Yes.
close with Heather. What
Oh,
I think some
yeah.
of those skills come in handy with all the Adobe platforms.
Yes, it does. I mean, we have some really talented designers here, so I don't do it as much as they do because they're just so talented. But it definitely has helped me, and just learning those skills. I mean, you can translate those skills into anything, and I truly miss Heather and all that. She spending all that time with her. She was a great mentor, and I recommend all students there talk to Heather. She truly can help you in so many ways. But it definitely prepared me just like what different softwares to use because now it's technically not my job to do all that, but I can jump in if needed. I mean, there are some times where we're tight on a project timeline where it's all hands on deck, and being able to have those skills to help out as needed is always wonderful.
And speaking of clients, I know one of your clients caught my attention. Skims, Kim
Yeah.
Kardashian, like clothing line. What's that been like to be part of that account?
It's been crazy but amazing. I mean, this was Skim's first ever TV ad campaign. I think everyone's aware that they do wonderful social and digital advertising. I mean, they're just rock stars at what they do, but this was their first time ever doing like a media plan and buying a TV spot and doing like a full on shoot. So there was a little bit of a learning curve with working with them because they had never worked with an agency before, but it was like an amazing experience. Just the brand that they are, talking to Kim Kardashian and how much she is involved with the brand was truly amazing. So it was quite the experience. And then also working with Kim K's schedule is, its own challenge, but we were able to make it work. And then we launched it for the Oscars this year, which was an amazing moment to launch her first TV ad campaign. So it was awesome. I really enjoyed being part of that team.
Now, did you yourself ever get any interaction with Kim Kardashian?
I don't. So as a project manager, I'm internal facing, but I
Yeah.
know some people who did. And I mean, because this was also a pitch. So in advertising to get new businesses, we pitched to clients, and Skims was one of the ones that we pitched to. And then we won it. And so we were able to make the TV campaign. But from the pitch to the shoot, I had, yeah, friends and coworkers who were on set with Kim Kardashian. And on top of them shooting the commercial, they were doing all this behind the scenes footage, and Kim's like TV network with like HBO or Hulu. I think Hulu is what the Kardashians is on. They were filming like our coworkers, like filming this commercial. So it was just like a crazy experience to be interviewed and to be talked about, like with stuff like that. So even though I didn't get to meet her, I loved all the stories I heard from the set. It was very fun.
And speaking of clients, Wieden and Kennedy, if I did my research right, their first client was Nike. Is that right?
Yeah, their first client was Nike. I mean, they sat at a little cardboard table for four, and they met with Phil Knight, and that was their first ever client. And that's a relationship that we've had for 40 plus years now, and one that we still keep today. And it's awesome. I mean, Nike's headquarters is like 10 miles away, so getting to visit their campus and seeing the work that they're doing is always awesome to see.
And Wieden and Kennedy, they're also the ones that created that iconic "Just Do It" campaign, right? That was
Yep, that
okay.
that came from here. Yeah, we've done a lot of the iconic Nike work over the years.
In your role as an associate creative operations manager. Did it take you a while to like get comfortable working with like your colleagues, or were you always pretty confident, like speaking up and kind of sharing what you thought might work?
It took some time. I mean, especially starting remote, it's a little harder to like build those connections and everything with people to like feel comfortable with your colleagues. It's much easier when you're in person to just grab a coffee with someone or chat compared to like setting up a 15-minute Zoom to introduce yourself to someone. So it definitely took me some time there. I also started as an intern as a creative ops resident. Then I switched to creative coordinating. And then I just recently, this past year, got promoted to associate creative operations manager. And so through that, I took that time as a creative coordinator to just connect with more people and learn more about advertising so I could feel more confident in the role I am now. Because creative coordinators, they're more focused on helping people like creative directors, group brand directors with their schedules, overall the project stuff. But where I'm at now is more focused on the work. So I took that, I think, a year and a half I took just to learn more about advertising, the business, and it really helped me just build relationships as well with the people I was going to be working with, so that when I transitioned into this new role, I felt very confident in what I was able to do.
In that promotion to your new role, is that something you had to apply for, interview, or is it like, hey, Cheyenne, you're doing some great things. We've got this new position. Are you ready for it? How did that process work?
So I mean, I voiced from the start that that's where I wanted to end up when I started as a creative coordinator, that I wanted to go back to being a creative ops manager and that I was willing to do whatever it took to get there. So for a year, I did like stretch assignments with smaller projects where I was a creative operations manager on a smaller scale for stuff like social or just other small little projects, or I would shadow someone who was a creative ops manager on a bigger project. And through that, I just spent a year learning and constantly asking if there was other things I could be doing so that when there was an opportunity for a role open, I would be the first one considered for it, basically. Mm-hmm.
No, well said. And going back to your time at KU, I remember you really were great about applying for scholarship opportunities. Can you talk about kind of the importance of that? I know like one was the most promising multicultural students program, and I think you got a trip to Times Square out of that, didn't you?
Yes, my face was up in Times Square on a board, which I still think is like the craziest thing to ever happen to me. It feels like a fever dream that it's even real. But yeah, applying for as many programs or scholarships as you can is so truly important. And I think you should always apply for ones, even if you think you're maybe a little underqualified or you might not get it. I mean, the most promising multicultural student, I never thought I even had a shot. I just did that on a whim, and to get that was truly amazing. And the way it connected me with people. I mean, we had to do the conference remotely, unfortunately, but usually they fly you out to New York and you have a whole networking conference. And through that program, I was actually able to talk to people at Wieden and Kennedy, which led me to getting an internship here. So it truly changed the opportunity for me. While I was in college, I also did the advertising scholarship through Kansas City.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that was amazing as well, getting to connect with Kansas City professionals. I still have my mentor from there that I need to connect with soon, honestly, again, because they were a great help with me just applying for jobs and everything. So scholarships and just mentorship programs, truly, I can't speak highly enough of them. They've helped me a lot.
And if I remember right, you were also involved in the agency here at KU, correct?
Yeah, I started in the agency my sophomore year. I was on the PR team doing our social media, which was super fun. And then as a junior, I actually got to work on the National Student Advertising Competition, which is usually something reserved for seniors, but it was really fun to do the research part of that my junior year. I remember the client was like Adobe Advertising for Cloud or something. It was the first like B2B program they had done in forever. And it was quite the learning curve to learn about it and do all the research for it, but it was a cool experience. And that probably was one of the biggest experiences I've had that has gotten me ready for agency life, just like sometimes the crazy hours or the research you have to do or the way you have to like work within a team. It did prepare me a lot for what agency life is like now.
And you just touched on research. Is that a skill you feel pretty good about? And do you like to do that kind of work, the research part of it?
Yeah, I mean, it was super fun to do. I don't do it as much now in my current job, but it was super fun to do and super insightful. I mean, KU has like the ability to have so many research like programs you can use. I mean, the stuff you can find out is crazy, and it's incredible the things that you learn from it. So I enjoyed it while I did it. I haven't done it in a while, but it was fun.
And earlier in this interview, you talked about your time marketing assistant with McDonald's, another obviously big brand. What was that experience like, just working with an organization like McDonald's?
Yeah, it was amazing. I did that for 3 years. So I started it after my freshman year of college, and I was able to continue it throughout my school and during the summers as part time. And it was really influential in just me feeling more confident around professionals because I had the opportunity to speak with like other professionals in the Topeka and Lawrence communities, which was awesome. I also just learned a lot about how stores and big companies market. I mean, I was focused more on like the local marketing, like the local events and fundraisers and sales we were doing, but I was also able to look into the data from like the big global campaigns they were doing, and just to have access to the marketing they were doing at a high level just for fun. I got to peruse that all the time, was amazing to learn about. And it was really cool when I did my interview to become a creative resident at Wieden Kennedy. I was able to firsthand be like, you guys did the McDonald's Travis Scott collab. And I firsthand got to see how that went in a college town. And I saw how all that marketing flowed throughout like the top to the bottom. Like it was kind of a full circle moment. I was like, that's something I want to be a part of, like on the opposite end from a creative agency. So it gave me a lot of opportunities, a lot of cool things. I mean, my family got involved with it too. My sister was a Hamburglar costume person for a couple of events, so I it was wonderful, and I still talk to the people I work with today. They were truly amazing with everything they did with me.
Well, Shane, it's hard to believe we're a couple of weeks from the end of the semester. I always like to ask our alums, like, if you had to share any sort of wisdom, advice, to the class of 2024, what would you say to them right now, like when they're getting ready to enter the workforce?
Yeah, I would say enjoy this last month of being in college. I mean, there's truly nothing like it. And life is going to change shortly after graduation. So just embrace where you're at now, but also while you're looking for the next job, be a little like ambitious and a little crazy with the things you apply for. You never know where you could end up or the opportunities you could have. So I think don't sell yourself short and really try to like shoot for something you want to do after college.
Great advice, Shane. I'll have to share that with my professional development class. Hey,
But
before we go, I always like to close with a fast five.
okay,
Um, so, if you do have free time in Portland, what do you like to do?
I love hiking. Love
I was
it.
going to guess hiking.
Hmm.
What is the first ad campaign you remember?
That I did a Fisher Price social post for their Little People collection set. My first campaign.
Talk about marketing assistant at McDonald's. What's your favorite menu item at McDonald's?
Ooh, probably their cookies, honestly.
I was going to go with fries, but okay. Uh, what's your favorite social media platform to use, either personally or professionally?
Instagram or TikTok are my top two favorites to use right now.
You talk about Fisher Price being one of your clients. What was your favorite Fisher Price toy growing up? I assume you might have played with the Fisher Price toy.
Yeah, I definitely love the xylophone. My parents didn't love it, but I loved using that.
The one with the different colors and then the
Hmm. Yep.
yellow. Yep, I remember that was fun. So do you still
Yep.
have that? Or your parents
Oh,
still have it?
probably not. I mean, my parents might in a box somewhere, but I don't know where it's at personally.
Well, Cheyenne, hey, I appreciate you taking the time to meet with us. I know you're on a very busy schedule, and again, congrats to all the work you're doing at Wieden and Kennedy. And like you said, you aimed big and you went for that position early in your career. And yeah, you've been fascinating to follow. And I always like to say cheers. I think you've got a great
Cheers.
journalism mug there. So Cheyenne, cheers to your careers and rock chalk.
Rock Chalk, thank you so much.